The Senate will please come to order. Please join me in a moment of silence in lieu of devotionals this morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Now it is time if there are any announcements. Seeing none, we have a resolution for adoption this morning. We have a joint resolution to take up, JRS number 7, relating to weekend adjournment, offered by Senator Clarkson of Windsor. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
JRS 7, joint resolution relating to weekend adjournment. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that when the two houses adjourn on Friday, January 8, 2021, it be to meet again no later than Tuesday, January 12, 2021.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution. The question is, shall the Senate adopt the resolution on its part? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying no. The ayes have it. You have adopted the resolution. The chair recognizes the senator from Windsor, Senator Clarkson.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move that the Sergeant at Arms escort the Lieutenant Governor-elect, the Honorable Molly R. Gray, to the bar of the Senate so that she may receive the oath of office.
Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying no. The ayes have it, and the motion has carried. Will the Sergeant at Arms please escort Lieutenant Governor-elect Molly R. Gray to the bar of the Senate? The oath of the office will now be administered to the Lieutenant Governor-elect Molly R. Gray by the Honorable Peter Hall of the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit.
I, Molly R. Gray,
I, Molly R. Gray,
do solemnly affirm
solemnly affirm
that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont,
that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont,
that I will not directly, indirectly
that I will not directly or indirectly
do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution or government thereof,
that I will not do anything directly or indirectly to the Constitution. Sorry, Judge, we're going to have to do that again.
and I will split it up, that I will not directly or indirectly
That I will not directly or indirectly
do any act or thing
do any act or thing
injurious to the Constitution or government thereof,
injurious to the Constitution or government thereof,
under the pains and penalty of perjury.
under the pains and penalty of perjury.
I do solemnly affirm
I do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
under the pains and penalty of perjury.
under the pains and penalty of perjury.
And I, Molly R. Gray,
And I, Molly R. Gray,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully execute
will faithfully execute
the office of Lieutenant Governor for the state of Vermont,
the office of Lieutenant Governor for the state of Vermont,
and will therein do equal right and justice
and therein do equal right and justice
to all persons to the best of my judgment and ability,
to all persons to the best of my judgment and ability,
according to law
according to law
and under the pains and penalties of perjury.
and under the pains and penalties of perjury. Members of the Vermont Senate, distinguished guests, and fellow Vermonters, good morning.
Morning.
I want to begin by thanking the people of Vermont for their faith and trust in me and for the privilege to serve our state. To serve Vermont and Vermonters is the greatest honor of my life. I also want to thank dear friends and colleagues for their support, and above all, my parents, Bob and Kim Gray, and family who could not be here in person today, for their unwavering love and encouragement. I would like to begin with a recognition of those who are not here today. Since the start of this pandemic, we have lost 152 Vermonters. Vermonters who I'd love to share with their families and much to contribute to our communities. I invite you to join me in a moment of silence to recognize these Vermonters. Thank you. Beneath the shadow of grief caused by this pandemic hangs another shadow brought by yesterday's attack, incited by Donald Trump on the US Capitol and members of Congress who were upholding their constitutional obligations to certify national election results. I stand before you today in shared sadness and disbelief. I commend our governor for his leadership last evening in calling for the resignation of President Trump, or that he be removed from office by his cabinet or Congress. Our thoughts are with those brave men and women in the US Capitol who did work yesterday at great personal risk to protect the foundations of our democracy. With members of Congress and members of the press, and especially with Vermont's congressional delegation and their staff. If there was ever a time in Vermont's history that our values are so needed in Washington, it is today. Our thoughts, however, must be here in this space and time and moment. We're called to act with the resolve for the well-being of our friends and neighbors, for the resilience of our communities, and for the strength of our democracy. Our history shows us that we are brave in the face of fear as Vermonters. We defy the odds. We're not afraid of the unknown, and we welcome the opportunity and responsibility to lead and set a new course. Perhaps it's the harshness of our winters, the unpredictability of our seasons, the stubbornness and resilience of those who came before us, or a deep pride in the place we are so fortunate to call home, that binds us and enables us to turn our greatest challenges into our greatest opportunities. This moment lacks neither. Let us begin with faith in government. As we well know, faith in government and public officials has been badly damaged by the proliferation of misinformation and division. Our challenge, our opportunity here today is to commit to the principles and values that give Vermonters a deep pride and full faith in the promise and the essentialness of good government. That is why I asked someone who I greatly admire, someone who embodies personal integrity and public service, to administer the oath, Judge Hall. Having had the honor of serving in Judge Hall's chambers as a law clerk, I have witnessed how he lives the ideals that make a democracy work. Humility and compassion, a fierce commitment and unyielding dedication to equal protection and the rule of law, and an unshakable belief and commitment to good government. My commitment to you is to emulate the principles and values I have witnessed Judge Hall uphold throughout his career in presiding over this chamber. Fairness, compassion, predictability, and I'll also say timeliness. From our communities to this chamber, let us set a tone of civility, cooperation, productivity, and to do our part to restore and strengthen faith in good government. Second, this year has laid bare so many difficult truths about our country and Vermont. The brutal killing of George Floyd and the resulting justifiable social unrest across this nation and on town greens across Vermont exposed a reckoning with the work deeply, deeply needed to unravel centuries of compounding inequality. As we start this biennium and recognize the challenges and opportunities before us, let us recall that joining in recognition and support of Black Lives Matter marks neither the beginning nor the end of inequality, but rather an awakening to the continuous experience of members of our community. This chamber has a history of fighting for equal rights, and this year it welcomes new senators and leadership whose experiences and voices only strengthen our ability to meet this moment. History will reflect how we come together and what measures we take to protect and promote equal protection under the law and demand respect for human dignity. I look forward to working with each of you and all Vermonters in this work. But there is still more work to be done, more challenges and opportunities. Top among them, recovering stronger from this pandemic. Vermont's pandemic response has made me, and I think all of us, so proud to be Vermonters. We continue to stick together, stay home, and look out, especially for our neighbors. Unfortunately, this pandemic is far from over, and as we well know, it has laid everything bare. From inequities in access to basic internet, so critical for online learning and remote work, to the absolute essentialness of affordable quality childcare, to the economic well-being of our families and businesses. Not only will we be judged by how effectively we continue to meet the humanitarian and emergency needs of Vermonters, but also how we envision and prepare for a stronger, more equitable, and economically viable Vermont. There are countless examples of creative, out-of-the-box thinking that are already transforming how we do business. Using federal relief funds, for example, local restaurants have prepared meals for families in need while supporting our farmers and local food systems. When schools closed, childcare providers worked with communities to open facilities and expand access and support families and essential workers across Vermont. Restaurants and libraries closed their doors but left Wi-Fi access open, making internet accessible to local students and workers who needed to get online. In envisioning Vermont's future, I'm inspired by these stories and the stories of so many Vermonters I've met. Young farmers and food producers, business leaders, founders of community co-working spaces and innovative startups, homegrown renewable energy pioneers, and Vermonters who serve our state as teachers, tradespeople, first responders, and especially healthcare workers. They know, as we do, that nothing about our future will be business as usual. They recognize that as one of the oldest states in the country, our future depends on strategic investments in our economic infrastructure. So much of the work that needs to be done is already underway in this chamber, and it has been. First, the economic well-being of our families. We must continue to envision and enact a Vermont where no Vermonter has to choose between paying the bills and caring for family. A future where every worker has the security of paid family and medical leave. Every parent can access high-quality childcare necessary to do their best work. Every elder is supported as they look to age in dignity and in good health, and every Vermonter can choose the course of their life as we protect the right to reproductive health. Second, the growth of our workforce and viability of our communities. We must continue to envision and enact a future where small businesses and new industries are growing, and a diverse workforce pipeline from our high schools to our technical schools and our community colleges and state colleges brings the next generation into good and necessary jobs here in Vermont. We must bring our local businesses back from the brink and lay the cornerstones for a stronger economy by supporting recruitment and retention, new jobs across technology, clean energy, and recreation, all the while bringing Vermont's world-class goods, our cheeses and our beers and services to new markets near and far. Third, a 21st century Vermont is one that is connected by rural broadband. We will not recover stronger. We will not draw people to Vermont. We will not end our demographic crisis if we do not act now to close Vermont's broadband gap. The market alone has not and will not ensure access for every Vermonter. The internet, as we know, is the electricity of our time. Each day without it is a day without telehealth, without remote work, without online learning, and without economic opportunity. I look forward to working with you, our rural communities, and federal partners, and our governor to get this essential service to all our Vermont communities. Finally, as we know, climate change is a threat to everything we hold dear in this state. We must follow the science. We know that an energy-independent future will save families money, create high-paying jobs, and ensure that future generations can know the landscape we love so much. We must act with the same urgency we've acted with in responding to this pandemic, in responding to climate change. In closing, I'll say this. I am deeply inspired by the faith that Vermonters have placed in us and their trust that we recognize the opportunities before us. Opportunities to restore faith in good government, to fight for human dignity, to do all we can to recover stronger from this pandemic, but most of all, to put people before politics in our work. As President Kennedy once said, at a time as nearly challenging as this, united, there is little we cannot do. Divided, there is little we can do. I will be with you day in and day out in this work, and I look forward to working with you, united, for a better future for Vermont. Thank you. And with that, let's get to work. And we will begin. The chair wishes to announce the appointment of Hazel C. Brewster of Morrisville as her chief of staff. Are there any other matters to take up at this time? The senator from Windham District, recognized.
I moved that, subject to announcements, the Senate will adjourn until 11:30 a.m. Friday, January 8th, 2021.
The senator from Windham District has moved that, subject to any announcements, the Senate do adjourn until 11:30 tomorrow, Friday, January 8th, 2021. Are there any announcements? Seeing none, the senator from Windham District has moved that the Senate do adjourn until 11:30 a.m. Friday, January 8th, 2021. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying no. The ayes have it, and the Senate stands adjourned until 11:30 a.m. Friday, January 8th, 2021.